Super. Yeah, so this year it'll be there, you know.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
You have lots of plans.
Absolutely. And it's sports, so we're also, you know, we have real events that we are attaching to. So our product is based on the schedule of sports. So, you know,
Yeah.
we are
You enjoy big opportunities, right? Big championships.
Absolutely.
And what's the next coming?
The 2022 World Cup in Qatar.
It's the World Cup, right?
Yes, which is less than 1 year. It's like 350 days now until then.
Yeah.
So you know how people have the countdown for New Year's. I have it for the World Cup. And this World Cup will be with 32 countries. This for the first time ever, 32 countries participating, which is a lot.
Yeah.
And obviously the momentum and hype built around the World Cup is definitely something, the international momentum is definitely something that we are targeting to be a part of.
Actually, everybody is expecting something very special from Qatar.
Yeah. And so are we.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna wait 2-3 minutes more. 2 minutes.
Have people already joined?
Yeah, I see there are 9 already.
Okay. Hello, everyone, if they can hear us.
So as I told you, although we see only a couple of people attending, actually the pitch is addressing the 7,500 investors that we have.
Absolutely.
Because we're gonna distribute it to everyone. So it became, when we realized there's this couple of months ago, it became very emotional.
Yeah.
Knowing that we have so many receivers.
Yeah, it's exciting as well.
Exciting, yeah.
7,000 people to hear about you at once. Absolutely.
But yeah, we haven't hired any actor. It's still us.
It's us, yeah.
It's important to maintain the authenticity.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, the more authentic you are, the more interested people are. So
of course, and nobody can speak better about what it is that you're doing than people like us, right?
Yeah, and we're very different, and you're very different.
Yeah.
And people, you know, at least half of the investment reasons are emotional.
Yeah.
So they give a lot of chances to good people, nice people.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say welcome to everyone. I told you already that we are going to record the whole thing, and we are going to broadcast to all our investors. So here we are, Manjinder and Cosma, very nice people,
Everybody.
very good friends. Welcome, gentlemen, and I hope it's gonna be a very good session, because both of you are going to share with the investors your pitches, your dreams, your development plans.
Yep.
Everything, because actually this is what we are made of dreams.
Absolutely.
And yeah, we ask for money, so theoretically it's a small mismatch, but we should make this happen.
We're asking for money to create dreams, to enable them.
Exactly. So Manjinder, we are going to start with you. So I'm gonna ask you to present your pitch, and then after we finish up the pitch, I invite the people to ask questions in the Q&A session. So just press Q&A, and then you write your questions there, and we are going to answer them. Welcome, Manjinder.
Thanks for having me. So I'm just gonna share my screen now, and then we'll get started. We are letting teachers down. Teachers like Victoria, who when she started was excited to get to work, but really quickly that dream came crashing down. The workload was so high and the pressure so immense that she eventually had a breakdown. It's no surprise when you learn she spent over 8 hours a week of her personal time grading work, giving feedback to students' responses to help them learn and improve. Unfortunately, her story is not unique. Nearly 40% of teachers quit in the first 5 years. It's the leading cause of exit. And in higher education, it's not much better. There, they hire casual hourly workers, and it costs them £2.3 billion a year to give that feedback to students' work. Let's take a look at some of this work. This is a relatively simple question with all the steps that 172 students have taken. So each one of those little things is another step. It is immense. And when you take into account that you have 10 questions in an assignment, 10 assignments in a semester, it really adds up. But our technology, grade, because the AI in grading to be an aid for teachers, it learns how educators give feedback so they don't have to grade the same method twice. It can group together different paths and approaches, which means it turns this tree into this. The reduction is immediately apparent. You can identify common pathways, clusters, and issues that occur. And when we take this AI and we put it in our platform, we've shown with research that it reduces immensely how much time it takes to grade work. It increases feedback that students are receiving. And for universities that pay for the hourly work to grade work and give feedback, we can save them close to £250,000 a year. But what's really cool is how fast our AI actually learns. We can see suggestions and automation on the scale of tens of responses. That is game-changing when thinking about AI. That rapidly builds up a massive barrier to entry for any competitors that come after us. And let's speak a little bit about those competitors. They limit students and they test the wrong things. They try to make lives easier by automating assessment, but this leaves no room for critical thinking. Take multiple choice, for example. Students just use process of elimination. With maths entry, they can only grade the final answer. In either case, when the student gets something wrong, you don't have the steps. There's nothing in between. So you can't tell what happened. And if you can't tell what happened, how do you help them learn? In our platform, you can pinpoint exactly where the mistakes occur in their method, and you can help them learn. That's good, but it gets better. Because grading work is all about trust. Students trust that the universities are hiring fair and qualified assessors, but also universities trust other universities that the content that's being taught is appropriate and the assessment is fair and to the standard as their own. But the problem is it's local. It does not scale. We're going to fix this by putting grade at the heart of an international grading marketplace, connecting educators and learners from across the world. So if you have excess resources, you can share them. If you require more, you can buy in. And with every single question that gets answered in our platform, our AI learns more and more. That means we can build a world where students can get almost automatic, high quality feedback with almost no work required. We charge £30 per student per year for universities and 15 for schools to account for their different needs. And the market's pretty easy to understand. Nearly everyone goes to school and a lot of people go to universities. EdTech is rapidly growing, expected to be worth over 260 billion by 2025, when the total addressable market is worth a whopping 21 billion. This is our go-to-market strategy. We prospect customers via email and LinkedIn, have meetings with them, work out their pain points, and see if Grade can address those pain points. We scope out a pilot, and once that pilot finishes, we have a commercial sale. And then we have a wonderful land and expand strategy, because we can go from one department in one university to the next, to the next, to the next. That means we get increased sticky revenue over time. This is our team. Rob is an ed tech wizard. He's developed add-ons that have been used in hundreds of universities. John has over 15 years commercial experience. We've got a suite of education, technology, and sales consultants, and we're building out an advisor panel, one of whom, Rachel, has exited an ed tech unicorn. This round, we're raising £700,000, 250,000 euros of which is available on SeedBlink. 70% of this is going to be used for customer acquisition, building out our sales team. So the idea kind of started in early 2019. And during the initial phase, when we were developing the MVP, we were able to get financing from Startup Funding Club Capital, who's one of the most active early stage VC funds in the UK. And they've continued to support us. After developing the MVP and selling the pilot to University of Birmingham, we're raising this round so that we can start selling to schools, launch that subscription marketplace, and at the beginning of 2023, expand internationally. We're hoping the end of 2023, raising over £2 million in revenue. I'm Manjinder from 6-Bit Education, and join us in building the next generation education platform.
Thank you, Manjinder. If you would like to take that out, okay. So we somehow grew the reputation that we bring on the platform startups that we really like. Or if we don't like them very much, they are really pushy with us. So neither you or Yep are not pushy at all. So we really made lots of efforts to get into your business and to try to understand what's happening there. But we really love what you're doing. And actually our investors, they love education, they love edtech. And there are so many domains where edtech is applicable. But the question, first question coming from me right now is, what sort of an infrastructure needs a client in order to use your solution? I mean, how do you match the two things?
That's a really good question. And it's a really important question when selling to universities and schools. Universities, particularly, which are our first target market, have really important infrastructure that you have to link into. Now, we do link into those. They have existing learning management systems, which all allow for a connection interface, which is called Learning Tools Interoperability, which is LTI for short. And it allows us to connect to their learning management system seamlessly. So what happens is they log into their learning management system, they create an assessment, they click a button, and they get launched directly into grade, which means it's seamless. All the grades get synced back, all the feedback gets synced back, and it's really easy for them.
Mm-hmm. So what's the percentage of schools that do have this management system?
It's around like 96% have a learning management system that is has the LTI spec in it.
Okay, so quite enough, quite a good number.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And how do you intend to proceed? So first you're gonna tackle the UK market, and then you're gonna go to other English speaking markets, or you're gonna go wherever you think is more accessible?
Yeah, so we're going to begin by starting in the UK market. We're already testing the accessibility of the product within schools, and we're also testing a little bit within the European market. We've got like an early stage pilot that we're scoping out, and that means that we can work out the specific needs that are required for each market, so that we're ready to iterate and build the features that are required so that we can expand in that market. We're going to start by probably beginning with the English speaking languages. So America would be a good next target, but a lot of universities within Europe also have English within their assessment profiles. And then actually we're focusing on building an AI that's language agnostic. So it could be used for all languages, and we're making quite good strides on that already.
So do you put a lot of weight into software development? I mean, where are your efforts? How are your efforts distributed towards business or towards AI?
I think when we were first starting out building this, we were pretty much 100% on software dev because we had to work out whether the solution was viable. But over time, over the last year, I would say it's been something like 60% software, 30% sales. And we're going to switch that over now so that it'll be 30% software, 60% sales, because the product is ready. It's completely scalable. We can go from 1,000 users to 1 million users overnight and not suffer any consequences. So it's ready to get out there, and our key focus is attacking that market.
Because I'm asking this to you because we have another investment that we did last year. It's called Brio, where they have a system of testing. It's not about grading, it's about testing. And at the beginning, they said the same. So they said, we're going to build a very good solution with AI integrated. And now they have it, but the effort to get international is still there. I mean, it's not an issue. The product is not an issue with AI. It's an issue with going international per se. Apparently, this is an effort that has to be done disregarding the quality of the product or exactly what you want to sell. So you will probably have a lot. Will have a lot of problems like everybody does when you want to go international and when you want to distribute to other.
Yes. So to address that point specifically, one of the consultants we have, his name's John Watkins. He's sold and supported EdTech in universities across Europe, multiple different language domains. So we have a lot of experience in the team to tackle that problem.
Okay, because this is a solution. Whenever you have good people with you, then problems are becoming smaller and smaller.
Exactly.
Okay, I remind the participants that they could ask questions in the question and answers section of Zoom. And until you get inspired with your questions, I'll keep asking my round of questions. There is a part of you which are working with universities, actually with the University of Birmingham. How are you going to allocate your time, and how are you going to switch from the university to working for a startup? Because we all know that you have to allocate 120% of your time to a startup if you want this to be a success. What are your plans there?
Yes, so I'm already full-time in the business. So is one of the other developers. The only person who has a tiny bit of connection to both is Rob, and he's just finishing his PhD. So he's writing it up. So he'll be done within about a month or so, and he'll have full allocation to the business.
So you are so much fond of what you're doing that all of you are going to switch directly to 6-bit. There's no other plan in your mind to go somewhere else?
No, completely not. We're fully into this.
Because this is very important.
So there's a question that we've got here that says, is asking about the competition in the UK and English-speaking world, specifically within that market.
Yeah.
So the products that are offered within this space specifically focus in two different areas. They focus around automation, and they focus around kind of assistance workflow. Let's talk a little bit about automation. So automation was the example that I was talking about before. If you have multiple choice, those little radio boxes, you can click which one you want to click. You can also automate by having a computer algebra system. So you can compare the answer that's given in a text box to another answer. Now, both of these problems suffer from the final answer problem, which is they only care about the final answer. They don't care about the method and the approach. And we're the only platform that can allow you to grade the method and approach. And on top of that, those platforms also require programming. You have to learn a proprietary language to be able to create assignments in those platforms. We do not require any programming. It's as easy as clicking on the bit that you want to give feedback to and clicking on the feedback. And that's really important because you don't want to replace the workload of grading with the workload of creating assignments. It's really, really important that you do that. On the other side of things, we have the workload assistance. Now that is where you can upload assignments, you can distribute them, and you can grade them digitally. Think about marking up PDFs. The problem there is that there's no scale. It's only a flat benefit. At the end of the day, you still have to grade all that work. And our platform actually has that built in already. So if you want to, you can have that assistance workflow. But if you want to have the AI, you can have that bolted in too.
Okay, there's another question there.
Yeah, so another question we have is, university bureaucracy is the biggest obstacle. How do you address that? So I'm glad that you asked that question, because it's a very important hurdle and it's a very important learning lesson that we've had over the last year. When selling the pilot to the University of Birmingham, we actually learned about all the legal processes and all the technical processes that are involved in selling to university, i.e. that bureaucracy. As part of that, that means we have a templated list of answers to the questions that they're asking, and we've built out the features that they required from the IT spec point of view. That means from now on, it's going to be much easier to sell into other universities because we can effectively speed through that part because we know exactly what they need. And it's been a huge learning point that we've learned from.
Okay, I asked you already, but let's repeat the answer. How are you going to get to new universities? What is the geographical approach?
Yes, so the geographical approach, so new universities, we're going to prospect via LinkedIn and email. So we'll find universities that spend money on grading specifically, and we can target them by looking at heads of departments within those institutions, organize meetings with them, and have other things like lead generation events like webinars and focus groups to build out that network and use our existing network as well. Once we have those meetings, we can understand the processes that they have because we can target the processes that we're trying to fix. And we have to scope out a pilot. That usually looks like, let's take an existing assignment that they have or an existing module that they have and use grade in that module. Let's think of some key performance indicators and compare against them. The biggest ones are amount of time it takes to grade work, the amount of feedback students are getting. And the third one is actually very important, but it's the amount of consistency of feedback. And we score very well across the board on all those three, which allows for the next step, which is the procurement process, to occur well too. We've got a good question here, which is only applicable to maths and exact science, free text answers. So right now, the AI capabilities are best in mathematics and they work for short amounts of text, like a couple of words. We're actually building out longer form of text answers for the grading as well with the AI. Now, this approach really only works in the sciences because the questions that are asked have right answers. They have lots of different approaches and trying to get to the right answer is complicated, but there's a finite number. Whereas if you think of creative writing, the purpose of creative writing is to have a completely unique answer. You can't really address the similarities in the same way. It does mean, though, that in the future, we should be able to tackle scientific reports and things like that as well. But that's something for the future.
Okay, Manjinder, I haven't seen any slide about competition. Can you tell us something about it?
Yes. So, so the competition, like I said, is broken up into those two segments. In terms of market dominance, there's not a lot really in the space. Obviously, assessment is a very important problem that's been tried to be solved for hundreds of years now. So yeah, so other than the fact that the two main approaches are the automation and the assistance, and we are better than the automation because we don't require any programming and we can give feedback to the approach. And we're better than the workflow ones because we can actually have some AI in here. That's the main differences.
Yeah, okay, but the question actually refers to, is there a big number of competitors, or are any other big names that are doing this? So how do you see the whole playground?
Yes, so the market is relatively well segmented across multiple different companies. There are a couple of big players. So Gradescope is a large player who was acquired by Turnitin recently. They focus on this side, which is the assessment workflow. And then there's another slightly big player, which is called Digital Ed, and they focus on the automation side of things. And they've got a good presence across Europe and Canada, and Gradescope have a good presence across the United States.
And switching from an existing company to yours is going to be a problem. How do you see the process?
Yes, so it depends on their existing systems. So what will happen is that if you have a lot of questions on the platform, you need to be able to convert them, and we'll build out systems that allow for that conversion process to be seamless.
Yeah. Okay, we have a question into the chat box.
Yes, so one of the questions here is the key competition must be current human feedback, which is the highest workload and poor quality, surely. And thanks for that question. That's actually correct. So the biggest target that we're going against is not other products. It's against the human aspect of giving feedback. And that's the thing that's the most expensive in time. And that's the thing that is the least consistent when giving feedback, and is the one that has the most pain point. So the thing I want to say here to address that point directly is we have products that do automatic feedback. We have products that do grading assistance with the workflow, yet still universities are using paper to give feedback to students. That should tell you how poorly those existing systems tackle that problem. Because at the end of the day, if they think that giving feedback on paper is worth all that stress, is worth all 2.3 billion pounds a year, you know, they're doing it because it's important. So that's the problem that we're directly addressing.
Yeah, sure. One more question from my side before we give the floor to Cosma. Is there a plan for you, although you are at the very beginning, but is there a plan to exit? Have you thought about different routes for that?
Yes, so we expect to either be acquired or go to IPO in about 5 to 6 years. There have been multiple acquisitions. Gradescope, like I said, has been one of them in the last couple of years, and edtech's quite a hot sector, actually. A lot of big companies like Apple, Google, and Microsoft are moving into education because when you get adoption and at the early stages, that means adoption throughout for a long period of the time. So there's a lot of big players in education that are trying to acquire these types of products.
Okay, and do you have any idea about the valuation during years?
Yes, so the market research has shown approximately a 9x valuation, 9x revenue valuation.